Hi, I hope you're having a great day. Well, today I want to talk about something which is a very limiting, self-limiting behavior that can be the only one reason why you're probably not achieving what goals you've set for yourself in life. Be it career, be it relationship, be it your weight, be it your health, whatever it is. Everyone has goals, and usually we have some obstacle in our path towards achieving a particular goal. Well, for the longest time, I've been looking at our data. We have a lot of people who come to us for weight loss, disease, and all of that stuff. And I like to look at the data of people who don't end up achieving their goals. If they've come to us with goals to lose a particular amount of weight or to make a particular disease better, reduce high blood pressure or whatever it is. So I try to look at the behavior patterns of this particular group of people who have never really achieved their goals. Of course, many of them have very, very, very genuine issues, the complexity of the disease or some deep emotional stressful incident happening in their life and stuff like that. But one of the most differentiating factors between people who achieve and people who don't achieve is attitude. And the attitude that I'm talking about today is blame. When we blame, we give away our power. If you look at the world that we're in today, you spend enough of time on social media, Twitter, Facebook, you look at the news, all you see is a blame game happening. A blame game between people on television, between the government, blame game even on cricket teams and football teams, great blame game when it comes to the environment. Everyone is comfortable sitting and blaming everyone and everything around them. And two things happen. One is you give away your power, you make yourself more negative, and three, the problem never gets solved. Because if I had to ask you, when something unfortunate happens in your life, what do? Do you find someone to blame, or do you accept responsibility for what has happened? Now, in most cases, I'll give you the classic example of someone who needs to lose weight. Number one, they don't introspect and see what has made them gain weight over the years. Poor lifestyle. I'm not talking about metabolic syndromes and diseases. I'm talking about weight. And all of a sudden, they want to blame everyone around them for their inability to lose weight. So what happens is they never really achieve their weight loss goal because they've directed too much of energy into blaming everyone around them. Blaming the quality of food, blaming their cooks, blaming their trainers, whoever it is that's involved in their life at that point. And because they blame, they give away their power, they never accept responsibility for the change that they have to make. Now, why does this happen? How does blame destroy us? How does blame destroy our relationships, our health goals, our career goals? I always ask people one question. Whether they come to me for health, we always diagnose, because sometimes you need to ask them, are you happy in your career? Are you happy in your relationships? Are you happy? Is your relationships between your parents and you good? This is necessary because it's not always about diet and food. Most people eat wrong because they're emotionally distressed. They have a bad boss, they have a bad relationship, so they're emotionally sad, and hence they make the wrong choices and the wrong decisions to eat. Or they choose not to work out because they're emotionally distressed. So the problem is not more diets and more exercise. It's about handling the root cause of what is causing their emotional distress, fixing that, so now they can make better choices, not overeat, wake up, hit the gym every day, or go for a walk or a yoga class and solve their problems. So it's extremely important to get to the root cause. Now, what happens is when we ask people say, oh, my relationship isn't good, my career isn't good, my health isn't good. I ask them three questions. One question, actually. Give me 3 reasons why you think you're unable to achieve your health goal, why your relationship is unhappy, or why you think you can't progress in your career. You give me three points why you think it's that. And usually the 3 points that they give you are 3 things that only they can control. Oh, I've become sedentary. Oh, I don't try hard enough. Oh, I keep fighting back. I use anger. They give you answers that only they can control. Not a diet plan, not more exercise, not more, pills and supplements and medicines and stuff like that. So it's so important for us to understand that blame is highly limiting to us. So if something goes wrong, then someone other than myself has to be blamed for the situation. That is exactly what blame is. We're constantly trying to defend our egos, our pride. We don't want to get hurt by accepting responsibility or accountability for what is going wrong. So the easiest mechanism is to dump that onto someone else. to make someone else the scapegoat of your bad emotion, your emotions, or your fault. You see, what happens in blaming is the person is trying to project something that they don't want to see in themselves onto someone else. So if I'm a really, really angry person, I want to project that onto someone else because I don't want to accept that I'm angry. I'm a very jealous, envious person. I don't want to see that bad side in me. So I project that emotion onto someone else. That is nothing but blame. It's as simple as that. We're constantly trying to defend ourselves, protect ourselves, our egos and our prides. When you really need to protect yourself, you should do that. But sometimes when you find you're the person that constantly blames whenever something's going wrong in your life, or someone is saying something to you, or someone's finding fault with you, you immediately want to blame that person. You need to now start introspecting and see, what part am I not accepting? What part am I not okay with? What part am I trying to hide under a carpet, push it deeper and deeper and deeper? Because what happens is when you blame, like I said, you give away your power to the other person. Instead, blaming becomes a distraction. It distracts us from doing some amount of soul searching to see, why is this situation happening? What have I done wrong? Where can I assume personal responsibility and accountability to make sure this doesn't happen again? So if you're constantly in a relationship where you're a people pleaser, you're constantly trying to please people, please your partner, please people, get them to love you, okay, you are to blame. You're constantly doing it, and when they hurt you, you suddenly think, how can this person hurt me when I've been so good to them? I give them so much, I treat them so well, I only say things that they want to hear. The fault is still with you. So you need to introspect and say, why am I a people pleaser? Is it my low self-esteem? Is it my low self-worth? Is it my low self-confidence? And these are not bad things. Let me tell you right now, some of the most famous and successful people in the world suffer from low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and low self-worth. They do it, but the wise people are aware of it and they start working with it. So sometimes when we get constantly hurt by someone else, okay, we think that how can that person do it? Maybe you set your expectations too high. It is your fault. Maybe it is your fault to expect someone to behave exactly the way that you want them to behave. Now, it's not the other person's fault. It's your fault. So sometimes when we introspect, we can't blame that person anymore. We need to look at ourselves and make changes, not to have expectations from people or to realize that everyone doesn't have to say the things that I want to hear. Everyone doesn't have to behave the way I want them to behave. Everyone doesn't have to love me and say good things to me all the time. When we accept this, then it doesn't hurt us anymore by blaming people and saying, you know, oh, this person is rude, that person's bad, this person says these things. You're only giving away your power and you're not working with a negative emotion that you should be correcting yourself. What we like to call that is self-pity. Self-pity is a character that most of us are great at playing. What we believe is that our suffering makes us special. It makes us feel special to deserve more attention. So we constantly play this role of self-pity because we want to feel deserving of attention from other people. So we play a victim mode. All of us are, we're a victim. Oh, nothing works for me. No one loves me. I'll never lose this weight. We don't get to the root cause of what the problem is because we are so seeking attention, and that self-deserving attention from everyone around. So we continue to play victim mode or self-pity. That is also highly self-limiting. So you don't get that promotion and you go and you start spreading negativity in your organization that, oh, this boss is like that. You're doing it because you want people to feel sorry for you. You want people to sympathize for you. You want attention from sympathy. What we got to look at is empathy. For that, we need to change ourselves, and people need to understand that. Most people who are struggling to lose their weight, they know the truth, but they just don't want to admit it because it makes them look bad. They know that they eat with greed. They know that they overeat. They know that they're lazy and they are not disciplined with their exercise. They know that they should improve their sleep, but no, Netflix is more important. You know, socializing is more important, and all of that stuff. They know this, but they want to project it on everyone else because they don't want to see what their faults are. And this is with most human beings. Now, not everyone. So if you're that kind of person who finds yourself constantly blaming people, You need to understand that you need to change these things. Now, what are some ways that you can change this? Even organizations, I tweeted about this the other day, that blame, literally a culture of blame is characteristic in very toxic organizations. So if you find yourself working in an organization where everything is blame, your boss blames you for not performing well. Instead of coaching you, nurturing you, helping you, they blame you. When there's a fault in the company, targets are not met, they find someone to blame. So if you're in this organizational culture of a lot of blame, believe me, it is very toxic. Organizations have to have leadership that is nurturing, that coaches you, that trains you, that invests in you, not blames you. Because if you work in an organization where there's constant blame, everyone is on defense mode, which means every time there's blame, someone's trying to defend themselves. No, someone's trying to defend themselves. Instead of solving a problem, everyone's just trying to defend themselves from being blamed or finding someone to make the scapegoat to. So when we move straight into solution mode, remember, it is easier to blame than to accept responsibility. Blame is very easy, but it's very difficult for us to accept responsibility that, hey, I didn't do well. I failed this time. I didn't give my 100%. I've not been giving my 100%. I am indisciplined and I know I need to get disciplined. It's easy to blame everyone rather than take personal responsibility. So number one, let's go straight into solution made. The number one that you want to do is take ownership. Take ownership of what is happening in your life. Your poor relationship, your weight, your health, your bad career, your bad relationships, whatever it is. Take ownership. It doesn't mean you are wrong. Your partner, your boss could also be wrong, but take ownership so that you can actually find what the root cause of the problem is. When you're in a blame game situation, you never find really what the truth is because we're so good at throwing the ball in someone else's court. So number one, take ownership. Two is accept. Accept that yes, we are not perfect. No human being is perfect. So if someone is perfect and expecting you to be perfect, that person isn't perfect themselves. So accept that you may have certain faults. Accept that we do have certain weaknesses, areas of opportunities, bad qualities, sins in us, all of these things. Accept where, most of us have gotten too good to try to be good all the time, try to be good in society, try to be good in relationships. We're just fooling ourselves behind that mask, but inside we're hollow, we're miserable, we're angry because we're unable to express our true selves. So the next thing is accept that you will have faults. You will have faults about yourself. Everyone has faults. I have my own faults. I have my own negatives. I have my own dark sides. As long as I'm aware of it, I can tame it. I can work with it. But embrace it. If we're going to try to be good all the time, it's only going to drown us. Remember that ego and pride plays a huge role. When there's blame, we're trying to defend our inflated egos and pride. So we try to push on the blame or projection on someone else because our pride and our ego cannot be affected. It cannot be bruised. So be conscious and be mindful of your ego and your pride. Use empathy and not judgment. The simplest thing is to judge everyone. Judge your spouse, judge yourself, judge your boss, judge anyone out there. You get onto social media, everyone's judging someone else. That's the easiest thing to do. What's difficult, but what is beneficial for you is empathy. How can you be empathetic with people? How can you put yourself in their shoes and look at it from their point of view? If someone's struggling, it's not your struggle. So it's easy for you to judge and to talk and advise and tell everyone what you think is right. But it's difficult for you to put yourself in their shoes and see what problems they're really going through. So it is extremely important to choose empathy over judgment. The second thing, you are not perfect. Do not expect other people to be perfect. Period. You are not perfect. Do not expect other people to be perfect. Instead of blaming, collaborate, talk, have conversations with people. If you truly want to work out a relationship with your boss, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, yourself, your health, whatever it is, work it out. Blaming just diverts the energy and the attention and the responsibility to someone else, and you never really get better. So it's as simple as that. We need to understand that blame is an attitude. And we need to introspect and see, are we those kind of people who are constantly blaming, constantly complaining that the fault is with us because we don't want to look at the negatives that we have, so we want to project it onto someone else. And when it comes to any goal in your life that you're unable to achieve right now or you're struggling to achieve, first introspect and see, what attitude you have. It's okay to have a wrong attitude as long as you recognize it and you're trying to make it into the right attitude. Everyone's not born with the right attitude. Everyone doesn't live with the right attitude right through their lives. You swing between moods, you swing between emotions, you swing between sin, you swing between negatives and positives. The idea is to be mindful, accept your faults, work with it, and move on. So health goals, most people fail with their health goals because they're in the constant phase of blaming. Let me blame this food. Let me blame that person. Let me blame that cook. Let me blame my trainer. Let me blame my boss. Let me blame everything around me. But you're not looking at yourself. You're not understanding the problem originated in you. It started with a lot of yourself involved. It's not going to be solved by only making other people responsible for your own problems. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.